Dear students, this is Jivitesh Chandra Bishwas, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government Sharada Sundari Mahila College. Today I am going to give you a class on the giant panda, and the title of the unit is Environment and Nature. This class is going to be according to your new given syllabus. So this one is a special class on a very special creation of God, panda. We all love panda, but they are on the verge of extinction. And this passage is included in your syllabus to make you understand about this amazing creature and the problems they are facing under the new circumstance of global warming and climate change. Let us begin our class, and you have to open at the page. There are so many books, so I cannot particularly give you any indication about the page. The book I have is the oldest version, and the page number is 100. If you have the latest version, the page may be 160 or more than that. So let us begin our class. The giant panda. So giant means huge. Panda is very big in size. That is the reason why the giant, this word is given before panda. Panda's bamboo food may be lost to climate change. So there is climate change. When we refer to climate change, it must mean the global warming. Yes, the climate is changing and the world is getting warmer day by day. And because of all the global warming, panda's bamboo food, which is the only source of food, is going to be affected much. And if the only food source is affected, there is no reason why they will survive after they will come face to face with the lack of food. Let us begin. Though they are one of the most beloved animal species on earth, pandas aren't safe from the devastating effects of climate change. So the effects of climate change is so harsh on these helpless creatures. Though they are very lovely creature, they are going to face extinction. They are facing lots of troubles from the outside harsh world. According to the new study, projected temperature increases in China over the next century will likely seriously hinder bamboo, almost the sole source of food for endangered pandas. Why is China taken for granted? Why is China included here in the very second sentence? Because China is the region where most of the panda population lives. So according to the new study, if the temperature increases in China, the places which are now suitable for the bamboo food of the panda, they are going to be so unfriendly for the cultivation or for the growth of bamboo that pandas will not be able to live there anymore. So the next line, the increased temperature will seriously hinder bamboo, almost the sole source of food for endangered pandas. So it is quite clear that pandas are not having any fun in nature. They are facing troubles in surviving because their sole source of food, their only source of food, bamboo food, is going to be very scanty in the face of the climate change. 99% of a panda's diet is bamboo. So 99% of food source comes from one single source, which is bamboo. And an adult panda needs around 38 kilograms of bamboo every day. So they need a very good source of bamboo food every day. 38 kg every day. So you can imagine how the food source is always having some pressure, always the demand and supply, there is a big gap, because if only one single panda takes up 38 kilograms of bamboo food, what will happen to the other pandas? And the regions where bamboo growth is normal, it will not be enough for these wild creatures, these lovely creatures. Only if bamboo can move to new habitats at higher elevations will pandas stand a chance of survival. So bamboo should be, their habitats should be transferred to some more suitable locations, so that the climate change will not affect those areas anymore and the pandas will happily live there. However, if conservation programs wait too long, human inhabitants and activities could claim all of the new habitats capable of supporting bamboo in a warming world. So, conservation programs should not be delayed. We should start conservation programs without any delay, so that the source of food of the panda could be saved. At the same time, it will save the life of the giant panda, who themselves cannot save their own lives. It's tough. There is a quotation, and this quotation is remarked by Jianzhu Liu, one of the conservationists or researchers, scientists, who are having some research work to save these lovely creatures. It's tough. What Jianzhu Liu says, it's tough, but I think there is still hope if we take action now. So the action should be taken without any delay. Said research team member Jianzhu Liu, if we wait, then we could be too late. Too late for what? Too late for saving pandas' lives. Yes. The researchers used various climate change models to project the future of 3 bamboo species relied on by pandas in the Qinglin mountain region of China, which represents about a quarter of the total remaining panda habitat. This long sentence means something very important. Qinglin mountain region is the place where most of the pandas, or 1/4 of the panda population, live. And researchers just went through some research work on 3 species of bamboo items relied on by panda, and they say there are some sort of climate change in the years to come. Maybe in 50 or 60 years there will be some changes. What are the changes? These models varied in their specific predictions. So they used various models and the models varied, but in one particular case they always came up with the same opinion. What was that? In every case or in every project or research work or finding, this just saw that the climate change will be there. The climate change will be common in the years to come. But is forecasted or is foretold some level of temperature rise within the coming century. So the temperature rise will be common to all the research works. All the different researchers found that climate change will be common to all. The results suggest that if the bamboo is restricted to its current distribution area, between 80 and 100% of it will disappear by the end of 21st century, because it won't be able to grow under the increased temperatures. So this one is a very fearful or very terrifying opinion or terrifying findings. What is that? If bamboo is restricted to the current distribution area, the regions where bamboo grow now, if they are restricted to those places only, there is every reason or there is every possibility that the bamboos will be affected. 80% and 100% of bamboo items will not grow under the increased temperature. it will mean 80% and 100, between 80% and 100% pandas will face extinction. That is very easy to surmise. Next para. If, however, bamboo can move into new cooler areas, if we can shift the bamboo distribution area to the new cooler regions where temperatures are much less now, and it may increase by the end of this century, but it will be easily suitable for the bamboos to grow. Those are the places where bamboo growth should be shifted, because under the new scenario of climate change, those places will still be suitable for the growth of bamboo, the sole source of food for giant pandas. That is what is given in this para. If, however, bamboo can move into new cooler areas which will reach the same temperatures as current bamboo habitats due to warming, so under the temperature, the bamboo will still be suitable to grow, because cooler areas should be preferred for the growth of new bamboo plants. Then there is hope. So these are the steps to be taken not by the pandas, they themselves cannot take any steps. Human beings should take measures to save these lovely creatures. However, all depend on the extent to which humans can curtail climate change by limiting greenhouse gas emissions in the future. So there is other solution given. Only shifting the bamboo distribution area is not enough, will not be enough. What we should do, we must prevent climate change, and this is to be done by preventing greenhouse gas emission. We know the emission of carbon dioxide as a result of various mills and factories and all the vehicles that ply through the roads. We should have a check on them. We should have a grip on them. We should tap into newer source of energy other than using only the fossil fuels. We have to use those fuels which are nature friendly, like the renewable energy, sources of renewable energy, like the solar energy. So climate change must be checked. Otherwise, only shifting the panda population to some newer places will not be enough, because those places will also be affected by climate change in a new century. So the result will be all the same. If we want to save this lovely creature, we must prevent climate change. That is the best solution given. Let us move forward to the next para. Many pandas in the wild currently live in nature reserves. So nature reserves means nature sanctuary in which panda population can live without any threat. So many pandas live there. Yes, there is no problem with that. But those reserves will not be enough to save these creatures. Many pandas in the wild, in the wilderness, currently live in nature reserves or in the sanctuaries, protected from human encroachment, protected from the humans' invasion, you can say. Because humans are always in search of food as well. Because under the climate change, they themselves will be under attack because of lack of food or cultivation. Their cultivation will also suffer. And what they will do, they will just have a grip, or they will just invade the regions capable of the growth of bamboo. Humans will be the greatest barriers for the giant pandas to live. However, almost all of the land encompassed by these reserves, all the sanctuaries we have, are surrounded by human population, and those places will not be suitable for the growth of bamboo. Will be unsuitable, and those places will be unsuitable for the bamboo if the temperatures rise as predicted. If the temperature rise continues, there is every possibility that those places will not be for the pandas anymore. And being confined to the only places where foods will be scanty, where there will be no food available for these lovely creatures, they will just die away someday. If the temperatures rise as predicted, if the rise of temperature is there, the growth of bamboo will not be according to or as per the need of the giant pandas. That is very easily predictable. If the conservationists plan ahead, so the conservationists are the people who can do a lot to contribute to the well-being of this lovely creature. If conservationists plan ahead, so there must be plan ahead of any danger. If the conservationists plan ahead now to move these reserves in line with changing bamboo habitats, so the climatologists or the conservationists have to plan ahead, and to save these lovely creatures they have to shift the bamboo habitats to some newer places, newer cooler places which will not be affected by the climate change. Then it may be possible to preserve the land the pandas will need. So that is the reason why we should save this lovely creature, and that is the reason how we should do it. Why should we save these lovely creatures? Because they are lovely, they make our world more beautiful, and these multitudes of creatures all come from the Almighty, and our God, the superpower, the omnipresent power, has created us all, and we have to save one another. As pandas cannot save themselves, we the human beings, as the greatest creature of by the Almighty, should take initiative to save the other creatures like giant pandas. So how should we do that? We have to preserve the places suitable for bamboo growth or bamboo distribution, and those places will be used by the future panda population. Under the threat of climate change, they will not be affected that much. Let us move on to the next para, the penultimate para. And climate change is not the only challenge facing the giant pandas. Climate change is not the only challenge. So there are so many barriers, but climate change is not the only barrier. There are other barriers. Like what? One of the most endangered species in the world. So these giant pandas are one of the species, one of the animals which are facing most of the troubles. In comparison with these creatures, the other animals are quite happy in nature, but these creatures are very vulnerable. Why? Because the other creatures have so many substitutes of foods. They have other sources of food. If they cannot manage one, they can move or tap into newer sources of food with newer tastes. They can eat that and survive. But giant pandas, they need only one source of food. That is the reason why they are affected this much by the threat of climate change. Human activities have already severely limited the animals' habitats. So humans are the humans are the reasons why the pandas cannot survive, because they are just limiting their habitats, limiting their sources of food by doing what? By doing, of course, very easily predictable human activities and human habitations. Human activities have already severely limited the animals' habitats, and their dependence on a single source of food, as they depend only on the one single source of food, one that is not that nutrient, and the source of food is not that much nutritious. That is the reason why they need so much, 38 kilograms of bamboo food every day. Can you imagine? And they have a huge body to take care of, and they need energy to survive. So that source of food is not energy efficient or not energy rich and doesn't help. This source of food does not itself help them, and they are facing the extinction. In addition to their native habitats in China, pandas live around the world in zoos and breeding centers. So in their native habitats, of course, is China. They live there, but there are some other reasons where they live under care in zoos and in breeding centers, where new pandas just come into being under care of the researchers. But will they be enough? Will these breeding centers or zoos, will they be enough for the panda population to survive? The answer is a big no. But Liu doesn't predict a bright future for the bears if they lose their wild habitats. So can you remember the researcher, Jianzhu Liu? Yes, Liu doesn't predict a bright future for these pandas if they lose their wild habitats, if they don't have any space for living. There is no way you can make them survive. There is no way you can help them out, because they need the space, they need some natural habitats where they can grow naturally, where they can just breed themselves, and their population, the panda population, can get a greater increase naturally. In breeding centers, you can just make them grow, but the growth will not be very easy. In the near future, their genetic diversity will suffer, and there will be no panda available in the breeding centers anymore. To really protect pandas, so let us move on to the quotation by one of the researchers. Liu's remark, this one is, to really protect pandas, you cannot just stick them into a breeding center or a zoo. So for their protection, the environment of zoo or the environment of breeding centers will not be suitable for them for long. He said, noting that the animal's genetic diversity would suffer. So genetic diversity is necessary for any population of animal species to grow, and of course it's very predictable that this panda too, and these wild animals too, will not grow anymore in breeding centers, because their genetic diversity will not allow them to grow under the confined arena. He said, noting that the animal's genetic diversity would suffer among other issues. So there will be other issues under climate change or their lack of food in the breeding centers, and their unhealthy environment in the breeding centers, because that will not be natural or naturally presented to them. They will not find themselves in a happy environment. That is not a long-term solution. So breeding centers or just keeping them in the zoo will be a short-term solution, not a long-term solution. So to save the giant pandas, there are so many steps to be done. There are so many things to be done, and at the same time, people's awareness should be developed, and the bamboo growth in the newer, cooler areas, that can be done, and carbon dioxide emission should be much less than it is now, so that the climate change cannot happen that much fast. So the tapping into the newer source of renewable energy like solar energy can help a lot, so that climate doesn't change, and you cannot make them eat from newer source of food. That's the problem. Otherwise, you could just make them survive quite easily. So all these things should be done as the researchers came up with the findings, and we should at any cost save these lovely creatures, because without saving these sorts of creatures we cannot save this beautiful world. Ultimately the ecology will suffer somehow and the ecosystem will suffer somehow, and in the end the disaster will happen to all the human beings. Why have we read this lesson? This one is very important for comprehension. There may be some in your new syllabus, some questions may be asked from here, as many as 5 questions bearing 3 marks each, or in total 15 marks, and choose the right options can arise from here. So you have to read this lesson very carefully. You have to read between the lines and the newer words that you have come up face to face with, and at the same time what the researchers wanted us to be aware of about the lovely creatures, at the same time the lovely world we live in. We have to save it all, and it's our responsibility of the human beings to save this lovely creature. So the sense of responsibility is there. Whatever we do, we have to take care of ourselves. At the same time, we have to take care of our surroundings so that the others can live happily. If the others can live happily, we the human beings can also live happily. So here we are coming to the end of this class. I hope you have enjoyed this session, and I hope you will watch this class, and it will be helpful for you, and hope you stay safe at home. Thank you all.